I'm super happy to say I've made a ton of progress recently. I've gone from having horrible neuro symptoms, constant brain fog, to back living a normal life again. And a lot of this progress has come from doing a lot of the emotional release work that I've been doing recently, from EMDR therapy to journaling. Now, don't get me wrong, a few years ago, I also used to think this stuff was hippy-dippy bullshit. If you would have said this to me, I would have said, get the fuck out of here, you're talking nonsense. How on earth can this have any effect on your physical symptoms? But through my own personal experience, I have figured and found that it is so profound, the effects that unprocessed emotions, unprocessed trauma can have on your nervous system and how that impacts your physical health as well. So for those of you who are unaware, EMDR is a type of therapeutic technique, and historically it was used for PTSD. And the founder figured out that in REM sleep, you are able to process things because your eyes are moving rapidly back and forth, hence the rapid eye movement. And she figured out that if you were to do this whilst in a therapeutic session and you were watching something and stimulated bilaterally, that is an LED going back and forth, you could have a very similar effect with the kind of target memory and sensations that you had as well. And the thing that really appealed to me for EMDR as a type of therapy technique was how physical it is. It's not like talking or analytical therapy where you go in and you talk about your problems and all of this kind of stuff, which had never really resonated with me. I have always found that the symptoms that I've experienced from long COVID and nervous system issues have been super physical. It's been kind of embedded in my brain. I feel the tension in my chest. I feel the joint pain, the kind of stuck feeling in my head. And so EMDR is a very physical type of therapy, which very much appealed to me. It's so hard for me to explain and articulate because I'm very logical in my thinking and I'm very strict in what I believe and allow, because I've heard so much stuff about emotions and trauma and things like that. And I've never really kind of resonated with it because I had an illness, it sent me with these horrendous symptoms, and there needs to be and clearly should be some simple fix, right? And I mean, I think regardless, it's going to be a very holistic approach when it comes to recovery. But what has been truly profound for me is the experiences that I've had in EMDR. And I'll talk you through one of them now. So I would be sitting there and I'd be going over my target memory, and I have these intense neuro symptoms, this horrible just fatigue everywhere, this tightness, this blurriness and swirling behind my eyes. A lot of you will probably be very familiar with this. And I was doing the EMDR technique, going back and forth. And it sounds ridiculous, but I started to have these waves of intense kind of energy bustling up and sort of building up inside of me. And I started sort of spasming and shaking and having this exhalations. And it was just so weird and so bizarre. Again, I'd imagine you watching this and you're thinking, are you going to talk about crystals next, Harry? Are you going to talk about star signs? And I promise I'm not going down the rabbit hole that far. But it's so profound, the experience that I had with it, that it really blew my mind. And I kid you not, a day or so later, I noticed that physical tension, the real deep sort of pressure that I've been having in my brainstem lift, and it kind of moved upwards. And for me, having that, as someone who's highly critical and highly analytical, having that physical proof and that self-evidence has been just mind-blowing. So it's been an incredible benefit that I've had out of it, and it continues to be so. But when I think about it and when I've read into it, this kind of mechanism does actually make sense. Peter Levine pointed this out very effectively in his book, and he talked about how you see gazelles and wild animals in the great outdoors, and they will have horrible things happen to them. So they'll have an animal attack them, whether it be a lion or a cheetah, and they will come within seconds of death, and they maybe see their mothers or their family members or their friends getting mauled and torn apart, right? And they don't seem to have any signs of PTSD. They don't seem to maintain this trauma manifested within them. And the reason for this is a mechanism that they do when they stand up, and it's this kind of shake that they do. So if you ever watch David Attenborough or any of those kind of shows, you will see that after a traumatic event like that, they will get up and they will shake themselves down, and this will dispel this kind of trapped energy that otherwise would remain stuck in their system. So they've gone from this fight and flight or freeze mode and dispelled it, and they're able to continue out their day. When it comes to people who, whether it be genetic, whether it be culturally, whether it be the environment they grew up in, certain people have a tendency to suppress and repress and to maintain and hold in and feel things. And I don't think there's any coincidence that the correlation between long COVID and type A personalities is so strong, because it seems to me that we are so used to repressing, to suppressing, to not dispelling that kind of energy, that we have to find other ways to deal with it until this breaking point. And for me, when I look back for my whole life, I have been dealing with this trapped energy by ruminating, by intense exercise, and then it makes sense that all I needed was some kind of nervous system trigger like COVID to set off this kind of perpetual loop. Anyway, I've been having immense benefit with these kind of techniques, so EMDR, expressive journaling, somatic movement, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And I will share some resources that I've posted on my Instagram, some links to some of the stuff that I've written about as well, because I know I've got such immense benefit out of this. And do I think it's the magic bullet for everyone? No, not necessarily. But the impact that it's had on my life and the change, and it's generally saved me in the last few months, it has been monumental. And I think it's highlighted to me how important this kind of emotional or trapped energy, if you will, plays such a huge component in recovery, certainly in my case anyway. So I'll share some resources to that, and I very much hope that it helps you guys as well. But yeah, wishing you all the best and stay healthy.